to day 3 of Defence Expo happening in the beautiful state of Gujarat. It gives me immense pride and it's an absolute honor to welcome each one of you. And what better day, what better occasion as we have been joined by Raksha Rajya Mantri Ajay Bhatt ji. With this, may I request our honorable guest, Raksha Rajya Mantri ji, to kindly join us on the stage, sir. May I also request DGQA to kindly join us on the stage, Major General. Also, may I request Major General R.S. Reen, Additional DGQA, to kindly join us on the stage, please. With this, let's get the morning started, and may I request DGQA Lieutenant General R.K. Malhotra to kindly join us on the dais for the welcome note.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Honorable Raksha Rajya Mantri, Shri Ajay Bhatt ji, Defence Secretary Dr. Ajay Kumar, and Ministry of Defence, Department of Defence Production, I welcome all delegates for the seminar on global QA best practices. As you are aware, with the impetus given by the government towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and self-reliance, especially with focus on exports, it is imperative that the agencies responsible for design, development, manufacturing, and acceptance of defense equipment lay emphasis towards enhancing the quality and reliability of indigenous products. Towards this, it is essential for the defense manufacturing ecosystem to adopt the best practices as prevalent in the world and also realign, restructure their processes for realization of higher output. Now, Make in India is an irreversible process, and Indian industries have to move from role of suppliers to manufacturers. Further, to achieve Atmanirbharta in defense manufacturing, it is essential that both the industry and all stakeholders, including DGQA, work in sync with each other in a synergized manner for speeding up the process of development and acquisition by reducing repetitions and limiting the QA activities to independent verification of validation of the manufacturing processes and the integrated defense equipment at a system level. In order to keep up with the challenges in this field and to help the industry, primarily the SMEs and MSMEs, DGQA has taken a number of initiatives over the period of last 2 years by realigning QA practices in the field of testing and optimization, which will be covered by various speakers during the course of seminar. I would take this opportunity to flag some of the initiatives undertaken to bring uniformity in QA. Presentation-based QA has been adopted by undertaking FAI with emphasis on critical to quality parameters, so-called CTQ parameters, concrete QA testing, and emphasis on acceptance of product based on certification from recognized testing labs. Creation of new expertise like software QA and independent verification and validation as per ISO and IEC 1012 will add capacity to this effort. DGQA has consistently encouraged firms through various interactive forums to apply to Green Channel and self-certification to enable defense suppliers to be responsible for building quality into their products. Defense testing infrastructure scheme has been formulated to provide easy access to testing facilities in the vicinity of defense corridors coming up in UP and Tamil Nadu. Defense export promotion schemes gives opportunity to Indian manufacturers to market their products globally. To bring transparency, and all the supply orders are now uploaded on supply order monitoring portal, online mechanism that facilitate even supply to view progress on this intent in near real time. DGQA is playing a pivotal role with all stakeholders in promotion of various schemes launched by MOD for ease of doing business to achieve Government of India objective of self-reliance and aspirations of making global defense manufacturing hub. The seminar today aims at giving an insight to the Indian defense industry towards global best practices in manufacturing and QA. It also aims to provide the industry with the DGQA perspective of Make in India and QA processes optimization undertaken by us to support this initiative of the Ministry of Defense and the Government of India. The session today shall have QA experts from DGQA and industry rep to enlighten us about global QA practices and its applicability as relevant to the Indian defense industry with an aim for making India and defense exports. DGQA, on their part, is committed to hand-holding and providing necessary technical support to all stakeholders in defense manufacturing ecosystem. I am sure that this interactive session will yield positive results and would request industry representatives to participate wholeheartedly in the event. Jai Hind.
Well, what a promising start. Thank you so much, Lieutenant General R.K. Malhotra, for that comprehensive capture and captivating opening address. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that you must have come across this quote, as they say, words can move mountains, words can motivate people to do more and dream more and make a significant difference to their lives. With this, ladies and gentlemen, may I request you all to kindly put your hands together and help me to welcome Shri Ajay Bhattji, Raksha Rajya Mantri, to bless us with his ideas.
लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल R.K. मल्होत्रा जी, गुणवत्ता आश्वासन महानिदेशालय, मेजर जनरल अरिन जी, रियर एडमिरल शर्मा जी, रियर एडमिरल कन्नन जी, ब्रिगेडियर अनिल गुप्ता जी, ब्रिगेडियर फारूकी जी, देवियों और सज्जनों, जब हम स्वतंत्रता की 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं, वर्षों का स्मरण करते हुए आज़ादी का महोत्सव मना रहे हैं, इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर आरंभ में यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी को मेरी शुभकामनाएं हैं। विचार गोष्ठी का विषय गुणवत्ता संबंधी वैश्विक प्रथाएं हैं, जो कि मैं महसूस करता हूं कि ध्यानाकर्षण के लिए काफ़ी प्रासंगिक विषय है। हमें न केवल अपने लिए बल्कि पड़ोसी मित्र देशों को निर्यात करने के लिए भी विश्व स्तरीय रक्षा उत्पादों का उत्पादन करने की आवश्यकता है और हम इस दिशा में पहले ही अग्रसर हो चुके हैं। इस उद्देश्य को प्राप्त करने के लिए हमें वैश्विक गुणवत्ता प्रथाओं को आत्मसात करने और उत्पादन में आधुनिक प्रौद्योगिकी का प्रयोग करने की आवश्यकता है, जिससे कि विश्व स्तरीय उत्पाद प्राप्त किए जा सकें जिनमें गुणवत्ता के साथ साथ विश्वसनीयता भी अंतर्निहित हो। रक्षा मंत्रालय ने ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को सुगम बनाने के लिए अनेक नीतिगत पहल की है। हम कंपनियों को उत्पादों के लिए जो उनके द्वारा निर्मित किए जा रहे हैं ग्रीन चैनल सेल्फ सर्टिफिकेशन अपनाने के लिए प्रोत्साहित कर रहे हैं, जिससे कि वो अपने उत्पादों की गुणवत्ता के लिए जिम्मेदार हों। स्वदेशी रक्षा उत्पादन को सुगम बनाने के लिए रक्षा परीक्षण अवसंरचना योजना के अंतर्गत सुलभ अधुनातम रक्षा परीक्षण केंद्र निजी क्षेत्रों के साथ भागीदारी कर रहे 8 ग्रीन फील्ड परीक्षण केंद्रों में स्थापित किए जा रहे हैं। यह स्वदेशी रक्षा उत्पादन को सुगम बनाएगा और निर्यात के लिए भी मार्ग प्रशस्त करेगा। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं कि आज निर्यात में हम काफ़ी आगे बढ़ चुके हैं और कभी किसी ने कल्पना भी नहीं की होगी कि हम 7-8 सालों में इतने आगे चले जाएंगे। जो सिपरी नामक संस्था है, उसने जो अपना सर्वे किया है उसके आधार पर 2020 में जो एक किस्म से पूरे आर्मी के क्षेत्र में अच्छा अध्ययन करते हैं, विश्व स्तरीय संस्था है, जो 25 देश उन्होंने चुने, 25 कंट्रीज। पहली बार भारत की एंट्री हुई है 25 टॉप देशों में। तो ये एक बड़ी बात हमारे लिए है। जो हमारा यहाँ DGQA, हमारी जो क्वालिटी, हमारी गुणवत्ता, हमारे जो कंपटीशन करते हैं हम उसमें सर्वोच्चता, यदि इसमें कहीं कमी होती तो निश्चय हम उनके साथ दौड़ में शामिल नहीं हो सकते थे। इसलिए मैं आपको भी बधाई देना चाहता हूँ, इस संस्थान को भी बधाई देना चाहता हूँ।
This meeting is being recorded.
लखनऊ में रक्षा प्रौद्योगिकी एवं प्रशिक्षण केंद्र जो 22 एकड़ में फैला हुआ है, इसमें हिस्से के रूप में हम एक डीप टेक इनोवेशन एंड स्टार्टअप एक्यूवेशन सेंटर, एक डिजाइन एंड सिमुलेशन सेंटर, एक परीक्षण और मूल्यांकन केंद्र और इंडस्ट्री डिजिटल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए सेंटर स्थापित कर रहे हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विजन और नेतृत्व में सरकार की नीतियों ने हमारे रक्षा उपकरणों के घरेलू निर्माण को प्रोत्साहित किया है। वित्तीय वर्ष 2022-23 के बजट में जो पूंजीगत बजट है उसमें हमने 68% घरेलू खरीद के लिए आरक्षित कर दिया है। ये एक बड़ी उपलब्धि हमारी है। इस तरह का प्रोविज़न पहले कभी नहीं हुआ था। 68% काफ़ी होता है, कम नहीं है। 100 में से अगर आप 68 निकालेंगे तो एक किस्म से हम बहुत तेज़ी, बहुत रफ्तार से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। निकट भविष्य में कुछ भी हो सकता है। जैसे जैसे हम पूरे विश्व में प्रतियोगी बनेंगे, भागीदार बनेंगे, तो इसमें और भी बढ़ोतरी हो सकती है। आज एक हमने अपनी मंशा जता दी है कि हम कहाँ और कैसे जाना चाहते हैं, किस तरह से हम अपने बजट को घरेलू उत्पाद के लिए लगाकर अपने MSMEs और यहाँ के जो उद्योग हैं उनको कैसे हम बढ़ावा देना चाहते हैं। हम अपने रक्षा अनुसंधान और विकास को स्टार्टअप और शिक्षा के लिए उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं, जिसके लिए 25% अनुसंधान और विकास पर भी हमने रखा है, बजट निर्धारित किया है कि ये भी कोई छोटी बात नहीं है हम तभी विश्व में प्रतियोगिता यानी कि कंपटीशन कर पाएंगे जब हमारी चीज़ों की गुणवत्ता होगी। गुणवत्ता के लिए आपका अनुसंधान बहुत आवश्यक है। ये पहलू में हम लोग पहले से थोड़ा सा उतना ध्यान नहीं दे पाते थे, लेकिन इस बार पूरी तरह से हमने ध्यान दिया है। वैसे भी रक्षा बजट में हम लोग तीसरी शक्ति हैं। आप मुझसे भी ज़्यादा जानते हैं, जानकार लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं। यूएस, चाइना, इंडिया, बाकी इतना कोई इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर रहा है जितना हम कर रहे हैं। मैंने अभी कई देशों के साथ जो अफ्रीकन देश आए थे उनसे इंटरेक्शन होता है। हमको भी एक दिन में 4-4, 5-5 देशों से इंटरेक्ट करने का मौका दिया है। तो वहाँ की आर्थिक स्थिति को देखकर कभी कभी बड़ा अजीब सा भी लगता है। मैं बार बार इस बात को बताता हूँ कि आप जिस प्रतिष्ठान में हैं, उद्योग में हो, आर्मी में हो, DGQS को देख रहे हो, या फिर हम मंत्रालय देख रहे हों या परिवार देख रहे हों, जो आप कर रहे हैं उसे देख रहे हों, अगर वहाँ आपका ठीक से उसका मैनेजमेंट नहीं होता है, एक किस्म से नेतृत्व है मैनेजमेंट। 5 स्टार का कोई भी मैनेजर मैं समझता हूँ कि हर रूम में नहीं जाता होगा जहाँ जहाँ हम रह रहे हैं। इतने संसाधन हैं, इतने साधन हैं, सारी चीज़ें देखते हुए एक जगह से मैनेजमेंट करता है। इसी तरह से मैनेजमेंट का बेस्ट उदाहरण अगर आप देखें तो आज भारत है, और सबसे वर्स्ट उदाहरण अगर आप देखें तो श्रीलंका है। राजनीति का बीभत्स दृश्य मैं बार बार बताता हूं इस विषय को, श्रीलंका में देखने को मिला, क्योंकि नेतृत्व क्षमता यानी कि मैनेजमेंट करने की ताकत नहीं थी, या ताकत थी तो सेल्फ के लिए अपने लिए लगाई सारी, जिसमें राजा भाग रहे हो, प्रधानमंत्री भाग रहे हो, राष्ट्रपति भाग रहे हो, पीछे से पथराव हो रहा हो, लोग नारे लगा रहे हो, उनको जान बचानी पड़ी हो। इससे खराब क्या होता है? और फिर दुनिया के सामने में मायूस होना पड़ा हो, हम दे नहीं पाएंगे, हमको माफ कर दो। और एक हमारा देश है, इतनी मार हमने झेली, हम बैठ भी नहीं सकते थे आप जैसे आप बैठे हैं आज कोरोना में। ये मैनेजमेंट नेतृत्व क्षमता थी माननीय मोदी जी की, कि अगर हम 1 साल तक लड़खड़ा भी जाए हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था, तो हम 1 साल तक जो जिस हाल में रह रहा है उसी हाल में उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट पूरी कर सकते हैं। इतना बजट आज हमारे पास है, इस तरह का बजट हमारे पास, ये प्रबंधन हमारे पास है। हमारा जो रक्षा निर्यात 21-22 में 13,000 करोड़ तक पहुंच गया है। अगर आप 2014 में देखें तो हम बहुत पीछे थे। कुछ तो है, आखिर कैसे बढ़ रहा है इसी बीच। और हमारी जो नीतियां हैं, इन नीतियों ने ही हमको वृद्धि में आगे आने का मौका दिया है। आगे आने वाले के लिए, समय के लिए हम लोगों ने ये प्रतिबद्धता की है कि हम इसे और बढ़ाएंगे। 2025 तक यानी कि 2025 तक हम ये निर्यात को 35,000 करोड़ रुपये तक पहुंचाने का अभी तक हमने लक्ष्य रखा है। हमारे वहाँ कहते हैं कि कोई भी असंभव नहीं है अगर ठान लो तो, नथिंग इज इम्पॉसिबल। कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी हैं कि पूर्व निर्धारित भी हैं, एवरीथिंग इज प्रीडेस्टाइन्ड। आपने देखा कि 14 के बाद ही बूम आई, क्योंकि आम आदमी के अंदर आज देश को ले जाने की ललक है। तब भी थी, सारी चीजें थी। आपने देखा कि कभी कभी अग्नि प्रज्वलित होती है, वो राख में ढकी हुई होती है उसमें सारी चीज है लेकिन ढकी है अंदर, और उसी को खोल दीजिए आप, उसी का प्रयोग कर लीजिए, कोई उसमें सूखी चीज डाल दीजिए, थोड़ी देर बाद वो प्रज्वलित होकर प्रचंड बन जाएगी। तो ये चीजें 2014 के बाद हुई हैं। ये इसके बाद हम लोग लगातार और लगातार आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि सब में आज एक ललक है। सबको अच्छा लगता है जब भारत कहीं बाहर हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जाते हैं, मंत्रीगण जाते हों, या जो पॉलिटिकल चीज अलग है, सरकारें अलग होती हैं, चलते रहता है, आपने ये किया, हमने ये किया, ये खराब है, वो खराब है। जो इस देश में, इस देश की वर्तमान पॉलिटिकल शक्तियों को तरह तरह से गरियाते हैं, वही अगर कल को विदेश में जाते हैं तो वहां कोई दलगत राजनीति नहीं होती है। सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया की हैसियत से हम लोग जाते हैं, तो वहां पर जब जाते हैं तो वो इस देश की वर्तमान पॉलिटिकल शक्तियों के कारण वहां इज्जत पा रहे होते हैं, रिगार्ड कि आपका देश इतना आगे बढ़ गया है। ये छोटी बात नहीं है, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। कोई दल हो, कोई विचारधारा हो, कोई कहीं का रहने वाला हो, कोई कुछ सोचता हो, लेकिन इसको सब मानते हैं कि देश ऊपर उठ रहा है आज। मैं कल श्रीलंका के रक्षा मंत्री से मेरा उनके साथ संवाद था। कभी कभी बड़ी चिंता भी होती है कि पड़ोस कमजोर हो रहा, क्योंकि हम वसुधैव कुटुंबकम वाले हैं, होल वर्ल्ड इज ए फैमिली। ये हमारा सोच है, किसी का नहीं है। उनके जो ऑफिसर्स से हमारे वहाँ आने वाले हैं ट्रेनिंग के लिए, उनके पास पैसा नहीं है। मैंने रक्षा मंत्री से पूछा, इज इट ट्रू? कहने लगे बिल्कुल सही है। तो उन्होंने बताया कि स्थितियाँ बड़ी खराब हैं इस समय हमारी, और हमको ये भी दो, वो भी दो, कई चीज़ें थी। आते रहता है और करते भी हैं, हमने बहुत कुछ किया भी है। और उनके जो ऑफिसर्स हैं जो ट्रेनिंग लेने आने वाले हैं, मुझे ऐसी जानकारी मिली है कि उन्होंने कहा है कि इस साल हमारे ऑफिसर्स को आप ट्रेनिंग दे दीजिए अपनी एकेडमी में, या जहाँ जहाँ देते हैं हम आर्मी में, जो जहाँ देते हैं, और जब पैसे हो जाएंगे तो अगली बार हम इसका खर्चा चुका देंगे। कितनी दयनीय स्थिति हो सकती है। ये सब डिपेंड अपॉन मैनेजमेंट, चाहे पॉलिटिकल शक्तियां हों, कोई भी हो, परिवार हो, घर हो, मैं पहले भी कह चुका हूं, या आर्मी हो, जिसके आप सर्वे हैं वहां हो, थोड़ी भी अगर वो गया, हिल गया, हिलते जाएगा, हिलते जाएगा। गरीब से गरीब का बेटा, अगर माता पिता मजदूरों का भी मैनेजमेंट ठीक है, तालमेल ठीक है, पढ़ाने का समय ठीक है, उठने बैठने का, खाने का, चाहे पाव भर आटा ला रहे हों मजदूरी करके, बच्चे को दे रहे हैं, आगे ले जाने का मैनेजमेंट या समय ठीक है, टाइम बाउंड है, और ध्यान भी रख रहे हैं हर चीज़ का, ठीक उठा कि नहीं, छींक आ रही तो कोई जड़ी बूटी घर की दे दो, हम उतनी दवाई नहीं दे रहे, पढ़ाते रहते हैं। तो आपके वहाँ CDS का टॉप एक रिक्शे वाले के बेटे ने अभी किया है, हल्द्वानी नैनीताल से, अभी CDS का टॉप किया है भारत में, ड्यू टू मैनेजमेंट। बड़े बड़े लोग हैं, सब कुछ है, और उनकी, अगर कोई रामायण पढ़ते हों, अलग अलग धर्म के लोग भी बैठे होंगे, उसमें एक स्टेंजा है, जहाँ सुमति वहाँ संपत्ति नाना, जहाँ कुमति वहाँ विपत्ति निदाना। सुमति होगी तो संपत्ति आएगी। रिक्शे वाले को सुमति थी, पत्नी को सुमति थी, नियमित कहते थे बेटा पढ़ो पढ़ो, जानते कुछ नहीं थे, और वो अपने काम पर जाते थे रिक्शा चलाने, पत्नी कहीं मजदूरी करती थी। और इतनी बड़ी बात, आज CDS बन गए, तो आने वाले दिनों में जिसने टॉप किया है CDS, तो क्या बनेगा आगे आप समझ सकते हैं। ये सुमति है। बड़े बड़े लोग जिनके पास सब कुछ है, उनके सारे जितने भी क्रियाकलाप हैं वो बहुत खराब होते हैं। कोई किस तरह से है, कोई किस तरह से है, बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा। और घर में जो बेटा तैयारी कर रहा है वो परेशान होकर कहता है मैं घर से ही भाग जाता हूँ, फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाता है कभी कभी। वो तमाम वो चीज़ें लेने लगता है जो लेनी नहीं चाहिए, और जिसको डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, बड़े बड़े ऑफिसर बनना था वो बैठ गया, मैनेजमेंट नहीं हुआ और सुमति भी नहीं थी। तो इस समय देश में, ये तो हमारे वहाँ था ही था, लेकिन क्लाइमैक्स पर सुमति है मोदी जी के, उसमें क्लाइमैक्स पर सुमति है हम सबको। हम सब लोग कर्मयोगी हैं, हम तो करते ही हैं, लेकिन जो मैंने कहा ना, अग्नि थी अंदर से, सोचते थे किसके लिए करें यार, सब तो गड़बड़ चल रहा है, कैसे लोग बैठ गए सत्ताओं में, कैसे क्या। अब जैसे आप आर्मी में हैं, कैसे बैठ गया, आप बोलेंगे तो कुछ नहीं, लेकिन पीछे पीछे जब पढ़ते हैं इंग्लिश के पेपर, हिंदी के, उनका कहाँ गया, कौन बैठा पॉलिटिक्स में, ऐसे ही खत्म कर दिया इसने। सब बोलते हैं घरों में, बाहर नहीं बोल पाएंगे, वो थोड़ा सा डेकोरम और सिस्टम और बोलना आपको लागू नहीं है। लेकिन जब कहीं देख रहे आप आदमी अपने लिए नहीं देश के लिए कर रहा, सबके लिए कर रहा, आप कहेंगे आई एम रेडी, हर समय सीना तान के कहीं भी हो चले जाते हैं। आपने अभी मेरे अंदाज से गलवांग में तो देख ही लिया होगा संतोष बाबू वाला, और हमने कितना कर दिया वहां, मुट्ठी भर लोग थे हमारे, साहस, हिम्मत, पीछे की ताकत कि नहीं ठीक है देश के लिए कर रहे हैं और हमारे पीछे आड़ है। और उससे हमारा परम मित्र देश जो बगल में है हमारा, आज भी नहीं भूला। अभी आपने देखा होगा कि उसमें से एक जो बच गया था उसको आज उन्होंने सम्मानित किया, मैं टेलीविजन पर देख रहा था। यानी भूले नहीं, उसमें जो एक चोटेल बच गया था चाइना में, तो वो आज आपको पता है कि उसको जगह जगह सम्मानित कर रहे हैं, देश भर में घुमा रहे हैं उस घटना को ताजी रखने के लिए। इंटेंशन ठीक नहीं है। तो इसलिए ये चीजें मैं आपको इसलिए एक्स्ट्रा मैंने बोला है कि जब कहीं पर भी होगा ठीक होगा, DGQA है ठीक करेगा, सब ठीक होगा, प्रामाणिकता आएगी, अच्छे जाएंगे तो कंपटीशन में आगे आएंगे। उद्योगपति हमारे अकॉर्डिंग टू नॉर्म्स बनाएंगे सारी चीज़, हमारे MSME बनाएंगे। तो हमने तो कह दिया कि हमारे वहाँ हम नहीं करेंगे, हमारे वहाँ जो भी है, अगर हमारी DPSUs ठीक नहीं बना रही है, MASC हमारी ठीक, MSME हमारी ठीक कर रही हैं, MSME, तो हम उसको खरीदेंगे। कंपटीशन होगा, बाहर भी जाएंगे और जा भी रहे हैं। हमने 7 DPSUs बनाई अभी ऑर्डिनेंस की, मैं कल गया था देखने के लिए, जबरदस्त। आप में से अगर कोई जानते हो, आप बैठे हो, तो जबरदस्त उन्होंने इस समय आगे के लिए अपनी सप्लाई की है। इसलिए मैं आपको बधाई देता हूं कि आपने बहुत ही अच्छा आयोजन किया है, आप सब यहाँ पर हैं। और मैं समझता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो आत्मनिर्भर भारत की चौथी लिस्ट जारी की है इंडिजनाइजेशन के लिए, जो हमारे हथियारों में अब कुल 411 बड़े आइटम्स भारत देश में ही निर्मित होंगे और भारतीय कंपनियों से ही रक्षा मंत्रालय उसकी खरीदारी करने वाला है। हम भविष्य में और अधिक उत्पाद जोड़ेंगे, इससे हमारे MSMEs को इन वस्तुओं के उत्पादन किए जाने का एक जबरदस्त अवसर मिलने वाला है, जो मैंने अभी कहा है आपसे। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि आज के संगोष्ठी के बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा, संगोष्ठी से बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। मैं चाहता हूं कि सभी वक्ताओं और प्रतिभागियों के बीच सार्थक और समृद्ध विचार विमर्श होगा। इस संगोष्ठी की यशस्वी होने की कामना करते हुए मैं इसको शुभकामना देता हूं आपको और अपनी वाणी को यहीं पर विराम करना चाहता हूं। भारत माता की जय, क्योंकि 2-1 कार्यक्रमों में और जाना है। बहुत धन्यवाद।
Well, I'll quickly take the opportunity to express our sincere thanks to Raksha Rajya Mantri Shri Ajay Bhatt ji, जिन्होंने अपनी उपस्थिति से इस कार्यक्रम को और खास बनाया। इसी के साथ the much awaited segment, the launch of knowledge book Global QA Practices. May I request our honorable guest this morning, Shri Ajay Bhatt ji, to kindly help us to unveil the book. As India is walking on the path of Atmanirbhar and making India drive with an aim to become $5 trillion economy and defense export hub, has also brought a great opportunity for development and growth in defense manufacturing industry. So for India, the emphasis should be on to upgrade and willingness to imbibe the latest QA practices being practiced and followed by successful global defense industries in the other geography of the world. May I quickly request all our speakers also to kindly join us on the stage for a quick group picture. And at the same time, requesting Lieutenant General R.K. Malhotra to kindly hand over the memento to Honorable Raksha Rajya Mantri Shri Ajay Bhatt ji. एक बार फिर से हम धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे रक्षा राज्य मंत्री जी का, श्री अजय भट्ट जी हमारे साथ जो जुड़े। And I would like to take the opportunity to thank Deaf Expo 2022 for organizing the seminar. For the benefit of the delegates and defense industry, academia and government agency, this informative seminar will not only guide us to educate us on quality assurance techniques used globally and best practices adopted by DGQA to facilitate Indian defense industry towards achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are surely grateful for this prospect. Now, without further ado, may I request Major General R.S. Reen, Additional DGQA Electronics, to kindly kickstart this session and moderate the proceedings. We have been joined by our speakers as well. Over to General R.S.
Morning, everybody. We have a long list of speakers. I will not take much time of yours because time is at a premium. The first speaker for the day, Brigadier Manupurti. The topic will be concept of quality, quality control, quality assurance as per ISO and its mapping in DGQA practices. Because that becomes important, because where we are and where the industry is, there should be no two dichotomies in the system. He will cover this in the given time schedule, and then we will move on to the next topic of the day. Thank you. May I request Manupurti to come on the stage, please.
Morning, everybody. A warm welcome to all. I'm Brigadier Manu Paruthy. I'll be covering the topic as you can see on the screen. We're talking of concept of quality, quality control, quality assurance as per the ISO, and how we map it to the DGQA quality assurance practices. I'll be covering it in the following sequence. A very brief history and background to quality. As we are aware, this started somewhere in the early 19th century, where we talk of interchangeable parts and assembly line by Ford. Then the Shewhart gave the statistical quality control. The Japanese resurgence of quality post-World War II. Juran's quality trilogy of planning, control, and improvement. Then Motorola launched Six Sigma in 1987. In 1987, ISO also introduced various standards of quality. 95, G then actually spearheaded the Six Sigma in corporations. And in the present day, in the context of Industry 4.0, quality is all about organizational excellence, and we are where we are now. Coming straight to what ISO offered in 1987, the basic motto was that great things happen when the world agrees. So, world over, domain experts give these standards, and it is on the basis of consensus. With the result, you have a wealth of information and things that are globally relevant and acceptable. The applicability of ISO 9001-2015, as we are aware, it basically gives the requirements for a robust quality management system. The applicability is to all kinds of organizations, irrespective of their type or size. Primarily, it is based upon the 7 quality management principles and the PDCA improvement cycle. That is, we'll just be talking a little briefly about the 7 management principles as we go ahead. The USP is that this standard is flexible and generic and can mold itself to the requirements of any organization. I'm not going to get into the definition as ISO defines quality, QC, and quality assurance. Suffice to say, as we understand, quality is nothing but fitness to purpose. It should meet the customer's requirements. Ideally, it should go beyond the customer's requirements. When we talk of quality control and quality assurance, both form part of quality management, with the difference being that QC is primarily the inspection aspect of the in the context, and QA is all about how processes should be performed. The 7 quality management principles that I was talking of, as seen on the slide, I'll go one by one with these when we talk of the mapping to the DGQA quality assurance practices. But before that, let me give you a very brief introduction to what DGQA, the Directorate General of Quality Assurance, is all about. Our role is to ensure that the entire range of arms, ammunition, equipment, and stores used by the Army and Navy are of desired quality and reliability to enhance their combat efficiency and effectiveness. I have underlined quality and reliability just to highlight that reliability is nothing but quality over a period of time. Our mission is to strive for professional excellence, to provide quality assurance services to the armed forces, and become a catalyst in achieving self-reliance in defense production. We are involved from the womb to tomb journey of all the equipments that we are responsible for. We are involved in conception in terms of the QR, vetting of the GSQR, the design development. We are there in the production. We are there during exploitation, in-service exploitation, and finally, also declaring the thing obsolescent till the discard. The responsibilities include import substitution, wherein we do hand-holding with the DOI, the Directorate of Indigenization. We are involved in DRDO development projects, post-procurement services, defect investigation. We give technical consultancy to the ministry, to the user, to the production agencies. And of course, we assist the Directorate of Standardization in variety reduction and codification. Our core competence as listed, so we have a wealth of data. This includes both the reliability data and the defect investigation profile and the retro-modification details, which means that what is there in the future, what exactly is required, how to improve is all part of our core competence. Our QA procedures are as per the ISO standards, and that's where we come to how we map the quality principles to quality assurance as followed by DGQA. Now I'll go one by one over the 7 quality management principles. The first, customer focus. Who is the customer? It's very important to understand what we are doing this for, who we are doing this for. This is the customer who operates in hot and dry environment, in cold and wet environment. We carry out amphibious ops, special operations, mountain warfare, glacial warfare, jungle warfare. We operate underwater, we operate over land. As can be seen, the adversary is not just across the borders. The adversary is terrain, climate, accessibility, adversity in all these different aspects. And why we thrive yet is primarily because of the robust training that we have. And this is done on a daily basis, be it actual ops or during training. Now, I've mentioned that the training is robust, it is top class, and that's how it performs. But there's another common denominator, and that is the equipment. DGQA, as the customer rep for the Indian Army and the Navy, follows globally accepted quality assurance practices. And that's where the defense manufacturer's focus should be. Keeping the customer, the soldier on ground, in picture all the time. So it's important to understand the user's perspective and the DGQA's expectations to be there presently and in the future for the Army and the Navy. Customer focus definitely leads to all of this. Customer satisfaction, you have a bigger, you get repeat orders, your reputation as a vendor improves. It finally leads to self-certification and green channel status and all of that. Ultimately, it leads to defense exports, increase in revenue, market share, and of course, above all, self-reliance. The next principle, leadership and engagement of people, why I've clubbed the two together is because it's leadership that ultimately leads to engagement of people. Also, leadership is the base where the balance of the 6 principles are dependent on. The leadership gives unity of purpose, direction, engagement. That's where you communicate the needs and expectations so that there's synergy in the processes during production, pre-production, even the development and the design, and including how you exploit, how you improve the equipment. This works well when there's teamwork. Don't work in, in silos and verticals. Cross-functional teams is the order of the day. The concept of quality circles, DGQA does this a lot. We encourage people on ground to give methods for improvement in the ongoing processes because they are the people who really know where things can and have been going wrong. All of this establishes a culture of trust and integrity, and it encourages an organization-wide commitment to quality. So it is the leadership's responsibility to provide the people with the resources, with the training, with the authority to act with accountability. The next is process approach. Consistent and predictable results are possible only when process approach is followed and you're not just completely dependent and focused on the product. Allows for performance optimization. You improve when you are focusing on the process. Incorporates the PDCA cycle. When DGQA carries out processes in terms of process audits, surveillance audits, and so forth, it ultimately leads to recommendations in terms of quality improvement notes and so forth. This leads to improvement projects. This leads to identifying where we have gone wrong and not to repeat the same. So there's reduction of risks, basically. The next is continual improvement. Now, continual improvement, basically what it does for you is that it helps you maintain your current standards in the first place. And it allows you to improve further, to optimize where you're going wrong, to do something what they call is the value stream mapping. When providing the QA cover, the DGQA brings in a culture of maintaining an enhanced focus on 2 things, root cause investigation and determination, a deep analysis of what has gone wrong. And of course, then it leads to CAPA, the corrective and the preventive action, so that things don't get repeated. You learn from your mistakes, you improve, and things only go further up. This happens, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of recommendations, we get improvement projects. So this is a place where the vendor could do well with understanding how the DGQA is getting a constant focus on the improvement of the existing equipment. It ensures competence and integrates the improvement considerations into the development of further modified, improved versions of the existing equipment. Evidence-based decision-making. There's no dearth of data in defense production. A few of the domains I've listed where the DGQA collects and analyzes and collates data. What can be seen is that the places that I've mentioned are the kind of data is both qualitative and quantitative. Evidence-based data analysis leads to lack of assumptions. You see patterns, you see trends, and you don't allow things to go wrong thereafter. Relationship management is the final principle. Goes without saying that DGQA, as I said earlier, is from womb to tomb. So we have a lot of stakeholders that we are involved with at any given point in time. And having healthy relationships with these, all these stakeholders is an imperative for giving good quality at the end of the day. Similarly, identification of stakeholders for defense vendors is a must. It could be in terms of suppliers, contractors, partners, and the internal customers, ultimately the user and the DGQA. Now, the defense vendor is here for business, understood. At the same time, there has to be a balance between short-term gains and long-term considerations. And what helps in relationship management if you don't forget the soldier on ground? He's the key. Keep that in focus, and that helps in cementing relationships with the suppliers and the vendors and whosoever are the other stakeholders. An organization that manages relationships well, as is seen with interested parties, will optimize their impact on their own performance, will facilitate a well-managed supply chain, and provide a stable flow of products and services. To conclude, till the recent past, India was a major importer of defense equipment. Things have really improved in the past 7 years. The present being where it is, the potential is, the sky is the limit. The defense manufacturing, defense development, supply chain manufacturing, all of that is very much possible. There is conducive policy environment. The government's policies in defense procurement and production, they are an impetus to how things can improve. Government policies and the conducive environment notwithstanding, all of this is possible only if the Indian defense player lives up to global standards, achieves what is achieved the world over and is expected the world over. The way ahead is to follow the standards as we just spoke of, to keep on following these principles, not to forget the customer, to aim for self-reliance and defense capability. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thanks, Brigadier Manupurti, for giving the concepts on quality. Moving next are the concepts on the quality management system, or we say total quality management. Six Sigma becomes a tool to it and its relevance to the Indian industry. For this topic, we have Colonel Suesh Kumar, who will give an insight into this in another 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In next 10 minutes or so, I shall be covering concept of various quality management techniques and its relevance for defense industries for meeting their global aspiration. Quality as a concept has been existed over many years. However, the meaning has evolved over a time. Earlier, the concept was more reactive, where it was designed to correct quality problem on occurrence. In modern days, it is more proactive, wherein it is quality is designed as part of product and process. With this as a background, I shall be covering my topic under following heads. If we look at the definition of quality given by various quality gurus, it's mainly pertains to fitness for use and conformance to requirement. That covers the basic quality and customer expected quality. But nowadays, what is required is exciting quality, which brings delightness to the customers. Quality has evolved from mass inspection to introduction of a statistics process, robust designing, and then to standard-based QMS system, though total quality management has existed over 3 decades. We'll look into it. Total quality management, as the name implies, total implies the completeness, the quality is degree of excellence, and the management is art of planning and organizing. Therefore, we can say TQM is the art of managing the whole to achieve excellence. If you go by the basic definition, it is a philosophy which meets need and expectation of customer and objective of the organization in the most efficient and cost-effective manners. That leads to the goal, do the right thing, right the very first time and every time. These are the 6 basic concepts or 6 pillars of TQM. We'll see one by one briefly. CEO or top management has to realize the importance of quality. They have to make quality excellence as part of their business strategy. That means they have to lead in the implementation process. From defense perspective, they have to understand and decode QR, PSQR, GSQR as from manufacturer perspective. Customer is first and foremost. Here the satisfaction is defined as a function of total experience with organization services, and that means a quality product at reasonable cost and on-time delivery. Human resource is the most important asset for the organization who, if motivated, empowered, and adequate training is given to them, that makes the organization ready to accept any challenges. Every work has to be treated as a process with a dedicated process owner who is working towards process improvement, which in turn indicate customer satisfaction enhancement. Supplier is a very important entity for any organization, and long-term partnership with the supplier will have a positive impact. As we know, the majority of the product cost comes from the input supply. By using the technique benchmarking and baselining, one can measure the performance, and that will become an effective management tool. QMS has already been covered in detail by previous speakers, so I will not dwell upon it, which is basically meeting and enhancing customer satisfaction and based on PDCA improvement cycle. The Six Sigma, as its name implies, a philosophy which allows minimal mistakes, statistical measures to gauge adequacy, a metric as a measuring system, and a business strategy to ensure good quality at reduced price. Initially, it was to improve manufacturing process capability, then migrated to business process capability. It's a management-driven scientific method which actively links people, process, and outcomes in a manner that organization achieve the goal what they are aiming for. In terms of level of sigma, 1 sigma, if talks 6,90,000 defects per million, it goes to 3.4 defects per million for 6 sigma level. The percentage vary from 30.85% to 99.9%. If we take example of a small library, if 3 sigma indicates 1.5 misspelled word per page in a book, then 6 sigma is somewhere in the entire library there is 1 misspelled word. Cost to quality, cost of poor quality, if you can see the graph, it varies from 25% at 3 sigma to less than 5% at 6 sigma level. These are the two methods we deployed for implementing 6 sigma, DMAC and DMADV. As its name indicate, DMAC is for improving the existing product and process, whereas DMADV for designing and developing new products. When we talk of 6 sigma, we cannot forget Amchi Mumbai Dabbawala, which was established somewhere in 1890 with a strength of around 5,000 and approx transaction of 4 lakhs per day with an error rate of just 1 in 16 million. That put them somewhere between 6 sigma and 7 sigma. The use of public transport and last mile connectivity on bicycle/cycle rickshaw makes them zero carbon footprint and gives 99.99%, 100% customer satisfaction. Let's look at some international quality awards. The first is the Indian Golden Peacock Quality Award, which was started by Institute of Director in 1991 to ensure total quality improvement in manufacturing and services sector in India. Its evaluation is based on 3 parameter: approach, deployment, and result. The US-based Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award is to improve organizational performance practices, capabilities, and result, and also facilitate sharing of best practice amongst US organizations. The most prestigious among them is the Deming Quality Award, which is given under Japanese Union of Scientists and Engineers. Since 2000, it has been made global. And as you can see, the performance of Indian, they have been exceedingly well as far as this award is concerned. And there are many firsts in their respective category to win this prestigious award as a non-Japanese entity. 2019 has been a fabulous year as far as this award is concerned. 4 of our Indian companies has bagged this prize, including Sri Venu Srinivasan, who got in the individual category. 20th October, gentlemen, being the World Statistics Day, and that is the beauty of world statistics, it explains for itself. So I don't have to explain, where you can see India is at top position, which really makes us feel proud. I have taken a case study of Algae Equipment, which is a winner of this Deming Quality Prize in 2019. It is a non-defense supplier, but it's interesting to know their quality journey. This is the first non-Japanese globally established industrial air compressor manufacturer who won this prize. Their TQM journey started somewhere in 2008, and that time their global presence was almost negligible. In 2019, as you know, they have already won this prize. They have around customer base in 120 countries. And now they are aiming to become a second largest by 2027. Currently, they are in 6th position. And if we go by the business standard analysis, this industry is growing globally 2 to 3%, whereas this industry, this algae industry is growing at the rate of 10 to 15%. So that tells us how the quality journey and how it reward in long term. To conclude, this quality management technique has lot of relevance as far as our Indian defense industry is concerned. They give tangible gains in productivity, ensure utilization of company resources with enhanced customer loyalty, high employee and company morale that ensures ready to accept any challenging goals and target, definitely give a sense of accountability, flexibility to fast and appropriate reactions to opportunities and threat, as well as comprehensive tracking and monitoring system to gauge the gap and customer satisfaction. To end, on 3rd of March, during a webinar on Make in India for World, our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji has given a very clear-cut guidelines for all our manufacturers, stating India need to manufacture sustainable and qualitative products, and they have to maintain global standards and to compete globally. On zero defect, zero effect, he has mentioned quality is key in this competitive world. With this, I leave a thought process to all the think tank and distinguished guests from defense industry to analyze whether the 68% of the defense budget is sufficient for their appetite or they have a global aspiration. Whatever is your aim is, quality is the key driver in meeting your target. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thanks, Colonel Savesh, for giving an insight into TQM Six Sigma. One thing which he said was about benchmarking. I think this was a good platform for the people from different industry segments who were here to not only give a promotion to their product, but also to see what are the practices or the best practices which are being followed all across the industry. Similarly for us, it was also a learning process to see what best is happening in the field of quality control or quality assurance. With this, we have Colonel Rafael moving you to the new segment, that is state-of-art technologies as a substitute for quality assurance, so that we are not dependent upon our conventional ways of doing quality assurance, and what best is available, as a best practice it is available, what we can think of or what is going on in the environment, we need to practice this. With this, I hand it over to Colonel Rafael.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Next 10 to 12 minutes, I'll be taking to the new canvas where we are talking about Industry 4.0 and the Quality 4.0. Gentlemen, as we are aware, our Prime Minister has given the clarion call that the India should become defense equipment export hub by 2025. With that as a benchmark, the industry also has to grow from Industry 2.0 to 4.0, as well as the quality concepts, what we have followed, are also need to have a pragmatic shift for Quality 4.0. And as a DGQA, which is well-established federal structure for all the defense equipment which have been used across the services. And this is one platform which gives that assurance to the user that once it is approved or it has been tested at the DGQA, the entire platform will have the reliability as well as the quality assurance for years to come in the hands of the user. With that, I'll take you to the view foil where we say Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, and Defense Equipment Export Hub, which is the key at our discussion. The new technology which industry has to adopt is Industry 4.0 and as well as followed in a Quality 4.0. In defense sector, we got new technologies, use of state-of-art technologies, which covers the entire hardware for the Indian Armed Forces. And when we talk about this, there has to be a paradigm shift from existing methods of industry as well as quality to the 4.0, which encompasses industry as well as the quality. As the previous speaker has already covered about the quality assurance, the assembly of all planned and systematic actions which can take you to the refined processes and to satisfied given the quality parameters at the hands of the user. Quality assurance is a process-based, which is more managing and planning for the quality. When we talk about quality control, it is a product-based, and when we talk about quality assurance, it is process-based. When we take all this together, the QMS comes into play, that is quality management system. How do you say the quality assurance has to be there? It is identify the issues, generalize the corrective actions, verify the corrective actions, implement that in your plant in terms of process. If need is felt, modify that, and then have it audited, so the quality control also comes into play. The main thing which I explain is the product, which is the bottom, that is quality control, the process, which is at the quality assurance, and when we talk about the entire canvas, it's called as a quality management system. The principles, how do you define that, sir? All this, when we talk about, it has to be focused for 6 important things. And foremost comes the customer. That is Indian Armed Forces, where you need quality as well as the reliable product. So everything which we talk about or dwell has to be there for the customer focus. Now, how do you say that the industry is transforming for this particular change? The leadership plays a vital role. That leadership has to think that, practically implement in their process, and see that result is there within the time-bound fashion. The engagement of all the people about the industry as well as the quality is paradigm shift, where we have to think and use the digital platform to get this on board. Global practice of Industry 4.0. When we talk about this, is a information intensive, the data centric, where the decision is based on real time scenario. That 3D manufacturing, Internet of Things, the data collection, see that process are followed. If there are variation, the timely correction can be done. Use of 3D printings and the physical scenario and changing it to the cyber scenario is what we are looking at Industry 4.0. In India, the shift is taking place, so allow me to say that for the all stakeholders, that this particular paradigm shift is at the nascent stage. Slowly we are geared up to use that and see that things are being processed as per the global standard, that is Industry 4.0. The implications are use of robotics, use of CNC machines from your traditional ways, use 3D manufacturing and 3D printing, simulation in terms of production line, having the canvas or the dashboard where the things have been simulated and seen and the stitching has been done together. Smart quality network is also one of the parameters. Interoperability, when we talk about the design principles, virtualization, that whatever we are talking about in terms of industry and its process simulation in terms of dashboard or on virtual scenario, decentralization for the decision, real-time capability to take that and collect the data, offering the services as a service orientation, and modularity, that is flexible and adoption for a small changes, which can take us to the further use of this Industry 4.0 principles. The roadmap can start that we have to have a clear vision, start in a small sector, sub-assemblies or sub-components, see that results are there, then it can be catapulted for a longer vision or for the broader picture. The development about the talent in terms of within the house, in terms of discussion, taking the quality management system along with the productions, taking the data and resulting into the customer first approach can result into the defense industry's orientation for Industry 4.0. Here what I am taking one example about the T90 manufacturing, which is there in an existing scenario. Our defense industry is geared up to manufacture a small we can say about the bullet of AK-47 till main battle tank, that is Arjun. The example about T-90 is that when we talk about industry, it is based on the TOTs. It is technology of transfer. We got traditional industry perspective for that. The method of manufacturing which is there in plants, the category of tools what are being used, and the recording and analyzing the data for quality. The existing system in the T-90 manufacturing is that we got a hull and turrets as a separate test. Then we got a pre-ATO. Then comes the integration of that is called as a running trial. Post that, we got a preventive maintenance, providing the SPTA, special purpose tools and accessories. Then the final quality check, and then giving it this particular product to the user under the JRI, Joint Reset Inspection. Now, when we talk about this kind of traditional ways are there, we have to see that this particular changes from your industry 2.0 to industry 4.0, how this can take place and how the quality can also be ensured along with that. Now, instead of making it piecemeal testing at each stage, before integration, if the data is being captured real time and it has been passed down to the quality people, then this data can be analyzed, and before getting integrated, if there is any defect, it can be analyzed and told to the process that you have to correct this. For this, there are certain tools which can always become handy for the industry. There's reduction of human interface, use CNC and robotics. Quick manufacturing decision based on this can help us to reduce the time delay, reduce the defects. Digital tools, in terms of, instead of having a manual tools, we can use the digital tools, laser-based or the data-based. Co-opting the quality assurance along with the manufacturing, so the data is being captured in real time. The passport, which we talk about, this data which is getting edited in terms of manual way, is been avoided, and all the data is being presented in a digital fashion. So the quality assurance also comes on board to see that the data is analyzed and the corrective action can be taken. The result is that when we talk about use of certain tools which we got, that is management tools, QA tools, results into the qualitative difference in terms of product, the assured product for the user. The global QA practice for this encompasses in terms of high reliability, the process simulation, manufacturing, man-machine material integration, and minimum deviation for the quality. Now, when we talk about quality 4.0, how do you see that matrix to implement that? Enhance digital skills and the talents of the workforce, clear digital strategy to capture that data, manage the culture and training of your QA personnel. So this quality 4.0 is also implemented along the QA circle. Stitching the quality data together in terms of dynamic portal and getting the analyzed result, so the defect-free environment is been maintained, and address the concerns of cybersecurity. Being a defense product, which is little different, the concerns for the cybersecurity can also be seen. Same topic which we have talked about has been shown in the view file in terms of diagram, that how the roadmap for quality 4.0 is been seen, that identify the pain points. These pain points can be identified and to be dwelled and visualized. Prioritize these points and the opportunities. Build cases based on the facts. Define target picture for the quality. And see that it is implemented and enabled so the defect-free product is being given to the field army. In the journey towards quality, the organization has to take the initiative, which are fast and has to be a design of the scale. The defining the pain points and taking the corrective actions. Detailed roadmap and the scaling up can be done for the quality 4.0. Certain tools, see about certain tools which are available in terms of ledger-based measuring tools, use of real-time data capturing and the monitoring, minimize the effect of human interface, generate value-based data and see that has been having test reliability and increase the uptime in terms of quality assurance. How, as a DGQA, we are getting aligned with the quality 4.0, software and hardware aiding in terms of RFP, QAP, ATPs, where the RFP has been floated, QAP/ATP is also coming on the digital platform and been given to the user of the client directorate. Simulation in terms of lab, digital footprints in terms of IDM and the MRGS, where the accountability also is coming play. The HSPs, where the data real-time stamping is taking place with the use of CI/CD portal, and enhancement through the DGQA portals and the technical evaluation. With this, I conclude that the quality 4.0 is a technology, has a great potential with advanced digitalization and the self-learning tools. It can go for a defect-free products, increase productivity. Quality 4.0 is a future of the quality circle, and it can complete replacement of a quality assurance. May not be feasible, but this is the rather improved version of quality assurance itself. With this, accepting the industry 4.0 and along with the quality 4.0, we can have the paradigm shift in the defense sector where the reliable and quality product is delivered to the user, that is Indian Defense Forces. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel Rafael, for giving an insight into the state of technologies as a substitute to quality assurance. He brought out about industry standard 4.0. This concept we launched in the last Def Expo in Lucknow. How this concept is and actually how this concept is going to take shape. In the industry, as we see, Bharat Dynamics is implementing it in one of its product. In the private sector as of now, what we are hearing is that about 1 or 2 companies are trying to come up with this concept. Why this concept is important? Because when humans are there, the error is definitely going to take place. And when humans are replaced either by CNC machines or coupled with IoTs, and you have the big data to analyze the processes which we have automated, automatically the things will come in shape. With this now, I move to the next speaker, who is going to touch upon the best practices for defense manufacturing and what does imply for quality methodology in defense manufacturing, or where in DGQA we are going to pitch in with the industry to be as a stakeholder to them. If they have adopted the best practices, then what are we doing in the practices which are there and relevant for quality assurance? This will be covered by Colonel Sanjay Mohanty.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. next 10 minutes or so, I shall dwell upon the best manufacturing practices which are being imbibed by the defense industries and the QA methodology in case they adopt towards these best manufacturing practices. Yeah. I shall cover my presentation under the following heads. The Make in India vision and the Atmanirbharta vision of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Raksha Mantri focuses on self-reliance through design and development, make and strategic partnerships. It also aims at refining the process for ease of doing business. Towards this, the core strengths of successful defense industries can be summarized as shown. To start with, we have the design, development and engineering capability of the firms, which should include R&D for innovation and also for realization of technology-driven weapon systems. Second, most important part is they should be amenable to concurrent engineering. They should have manufacturing processes streamlined. They should adapt to standards. They should have committed and trained manpower, adaptability to strategic partnerships and collaborations. They should have sound infrastructure and financial position. And lastly, have a robust product support center primarily to cater for defense industries. Having factored the core strengths, successful firms have certain best practices. To start with, we have the design capability, which includes product process improvement practices. We have a layered tiered quality management function. We have formulation, certification and adherence to quality objective standards, policies, duly factoring the risk and its mitigation. We have the digitization in the manufacturing system by adoption of Industry 4. And finally, a robust independent failure analysis mechanism and a lifecycle support system. In terms of design capability, statistically it has been proven that 80 to 90% of the sales revenue of industries result from in-house research and development products and adherence to standards and specifications. A typical three-tier layer for design capability is as shown, wherein you have the central research laboratories at the apex, getting into futuristic technologies. We have the core design groups looking into core technology development for running projects, and thereafter you have the design and engineering groups based out with the production agencies for product support. Quality management plays a very important aspect in the total quality of a system, whereas certification is basically to build confidence to the customers. A typical incremental model for quality management and certification is as shown. It's been covered though by various speakers. It has got the QCC or the QITs at the bottom. You have the QMS, EMS, followed by the AS 9100, which is the QMS plus International Aerospace Quality Standards requirements. We have the maturity level for the software-defined industries. We have the Six Sigma CRE for processes. And finally, the Joint Business Excellence Award by the CII and Exim Bank. Talking briefly about Industry 4, as been brought out, the evolution started with mechanization of labor in the 18th century to automation of production in the current days. However, gaps still exist in communication wherein QC and QC data are not exchanged in real time. Therefore, there is a requirement of an integrated framework allowing access to real-time production and QC testing data. If you see the existing system, there is no mechanism of digital threading, especially for legacy production process. Therefore, there is no real-time analysis. Since there is no threading, there is no real-time prediction for prediction of failures. Further, there is no correlation with the production data and the field exploitation data. And lastly, the QA by DGQA is offline, time consuming and not foolproof. We, as the General Officer brought out, piloted implementing a structure for Industry 4 with BDL and CDAC by adoption of IoT, blockchain, big data and AI for integrating the production QC and QA data. The product was showcased during DEF Expo 2020. With the learnings that we've had, we can guide the industries. What is required is identification of critical assemblies. You can't be going on for automation of the entire assembly. So you need to identify critical assemblies for automation, select appropriate technology for automation, and thereafter get into making an enterprise solution primarily for real-time decision making with the man in the loop, reducing redundancies in terms of inspection and testing, and finally correlating the production and testing data. By way of continual improvement to the manufacturing process, the firms are graduating towards self-certification for recurring supplies, green channel certification for proven systems. Having seen the best practices of the firms, and I come on to the basic part, which is the QA methodology, in case the best practices are followed by the firms. Before we get on to the subject per se, let's first understand what are the problem areas with respect to prototype development. The major aspect is about realization time for the prototype to go to the user. Primarily, it results due to gaps in elicitation of the requirement by the developer, leading to design issues if not factored completely and adequately. We have changing requirements of the user. We have non-formulated quantifiable parameters. The firms don't know what to be tested, how to be tested. There are gaps with respect to testing, verification and validation, gaps with respect to documentation, configuration management, and finally, the process of evaluation and the time taken for it. If we undertake an appreciation of the time, nearly 8 to 10 years is taken for equipment to be developed and thereafter being supplied to the user. In this, nearly 50% of the time is taken for prototype development and the trials thereafter. This particular problem can be resolved by way of DGQA undertaking independent verification and validation of the system at the prototype stage. What it involves is DGQA getting into requirement and design evaluation at the requirement capturing stage, thereafter giving freedom to the manufacturer for construction of the equipment, for formulation of the documents, for testing, undertaking testing, in case required, DGQA undertaking concurrent testing for the critical to quality assemblies, and finally the firm integrating the system and offering the system for a independent verification and validation by DGQA as per ISO IEC 1012. Primarily, it will result to offering of the FET only for the user and MET evaluation. Minor NCs with respect to the desirable paras could be taken up by DGQA during the FOPM. With this, we can safely say that we could enable optimization of the prototype and the evaluation time by nearly 50%. In terms of a perspective, DGQA undertakes technical evaluation to ascertain and validate the reliability of the equipment. It encompasses the following heads. Primarily, it is auditing the reliability documents, the design documents. Testing, if it is not undertaken by the firm for reliability. Verification and validation of the system, including auditing of the QMS of the firm. Truncated evaluations in case of repeat orders and upgradation of existing systems. Concurrent evaluations in case of equipment which is critical, which is high value, where cost and time do not allow separate testing by DGQA. What it shall involve is audit, VNV of CTQ assemblies, requirement capture evaluation, design evaluation in case not undertaken during the requirement capturing phase, physical functional test and certain miscellaneous testing in terms of roadability, rain, documentation for the HSP, and finally the software VNV. All this shall lead to formulation of a bill to print document which will include frozen drawings, frozen BOM, supply details, process flows, work instructions, and so on and so forth. As regards our perspective for FAI, the condition is that equipment should have been successfully evaluated during the FET, and there is no change in the bulk as far as the FET goes. The process will be purely a PDI model at the system level, which had include endurance, burn-in, audit of the first party reports, functional testing, and system level independent verification validation of the software. For proven systems, we basically have 4 stages: the quality audit, which is evidence based, the audit of the requirement capturing document, which is the bidirectional traceability matrix, the audit of the design document duly mapped to the test cases, undertaking functional acceptance testing at the system level, verification and validation of the shelf life, service life, and undertaking PDI purely on a VNV model, wherein details including drawing specs, acceptance criteria will have to be provided by the manufacturer. Coming on to the fast track procurement, the precondition is that equipment should have been successfully evaluated, cleared by the MPART committee for suitability of employment. In case it is so, we shall undertake PDI at system level, primarily having audit of qualification test reports and production test reports undertaken by the firm, and thereafter endurance, burn-in, functional testing, and system level VNV for the software. In terms of our perspective for software QA, software being an important part now of the systems, it is imperative that the manufacturers factor the quality and reliability aspects into the software. The software stages have been standardized by the SDLC. There are 7 stages. Therefore, it is incumbent upon the developer to factor the development of the software as per the SDLC. Software being intangible, it is important that necessary attributes as per the quality model are factored for the development of the software to make it visible and testable. Towards this, our approach would be at the RFP stage to check the applicability of the quality attributes, inclusion of the same in the RFP. At the requirement capturing stage, we go on to the requirement and design evaluation, freeze the documents, and thereafter give independence to the developer to develop, integrate, and then offer the integrated system to us for system level VNV at integrated level 4 as per IEEE 1012. This process has been finalized, streamlined, and being adopted by DGQA now. The entire concept would involve these stages. May I request you to kindly go to the hyperlink, please. It shall have 9 stages.
Try and complete it in 1
yes.
minute.
Next. So these are the kind of checks that you undertake for the requirement evaluation. Next. Go back. Next. We shall be organized, or rather we are organized under DQL for undertaking the software QA of the systems with the CQA EW as the HSP and the SQAs at all these places undertaking the first year testing. Next. We as part of the testing mechanism have also endeavored and are piloting to undertake the security testing of IT and communication assets. It shall be a suite of 6 labs which is being piloted at SQL Secunderabad within DGQA. Next. Primarily it is for security testing. We'll check the unstated functionalities, adaptability of the functionalities, check for unstated channels, and the input checking and output containment. Next. In terms of a capability for software QA, the lab at EW, we have the ELM suite for requirement management and testing. It is available for the MSMEs and the SMEs to use. With this, gentlemen, I conclude. It's time when the upcoming defense industries adopt to best manufacturing practices to produce weapon systems of high quality and reliability. DGQA evaluation and procedure can be simplified and minimized only if manufacturer produces evidence for VNB by DGQA. We therefore need to be looked as a facilitator for Atmanirbharta by the defense industry. Thank you so much.
Encouraging self-certification and green channel. We do not want to be responsible as a QA agency for those products or production which is stabilized, for which we have no observations or no defects. If so, that is where the industry needs to move. Yes, for certain amount of audits, verification, validation based on standards which has just not been brought out. We have a lab which has already come up, and we want that most of the products which are software intensive, and I don't think there's any field today which does not have, or an equipment which does not have a part or a part portion of the electronics built into it. Therefore, it becomes very, very important that those products are also being validated. And this validation, gentlemen, is almost free to you when it comes from defense QA agencies. Otherwise, being part of the industry, you may be knowing how the charges are when you go to the external sources. The next important topic for today is the QA practices for ammunition. Why it becomes important was the other products may go defective. It will be can be repaired. But for ammunition, it's a one-shot device. It will go defective, fine. But when it goes defective, at times we lose precious life. The recent incident you must have all heard, because in this world of transparency, every information is available. So we do not want such things to happen. And how we are able to achieve, or we are trying our endeavor that we do not have such defects coming, at least in our critical supplies of ammunition. Colonel Anil Gupta, Brigadier Anil Gupta will be covering this topic on quality assurance practices involving ammunition and armament. Brigadier Gupta.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a series of speakers covering various aspects of quality control, quality assurance, and quality assurance practices. I, Brigadier Anil Gupta, would broadly cover the quality assurance of critical stores like ammunition and armament. It is very encouraging to see now that the private industries are coming forward to supply these stores to the defense forces to promote and achieve the Atmanirbhar Bharat. But we need to understand why these stores are critical and why quality control and quality assurance should be very crucial and vital during manufacturing of these stores. Why are they critical? Firstly, they are lethal by design. So any accident which happens will lead to injuries, damage to the equipment, and sadly loss of life. But furthermore, it results into lowering the confidence and morale of our soldiers. In operational scenarios, you can even have loss of tactical advantage, and even the outcome of the battle can be affected. To just give you a small scenario of such nature, just imagine our infantry soldiers are approaching enemy post or enemy target. En route, they find enemy post with machine gun, which is sending very heavy fire and impeding our approach. Now, one of our soldiers risks his life under this heavy fire, approaches the enemy post, and is able to reach near the post. And is even successfully able to launch a grenade at the enemy post to neutralize it. And he lobs the grenade, and the grenade goes blind. That is, it does not function. What then? He's a sitting duck, he's been spotted, you cannot retrieve him. The operation also may fail. Why? Because of non-functioning of one grenade. That is why these things are very critical. Thirdly, the ammunition per se is prone to deterioration, even in its storages, because it is designed that way because of chemical compositions it has. That is why ammunition and armament stores should not be treated as any other stores. Just to give you a few visual implications, the tank barrel getting flowering, sharing of the barrel. Again, a very sad accident took place. The barrel got shared at the base, fell on the cupola of the driver, cupola got damaged, and the tank caught fire. Unfortunately, the driver could not come out. Now, if we ask this question, why would tank crew not hesitate to fire his gun with the barrel on top of the cupola? Because his confidence is getting low. If our HE shells do not give the desired blast and fragmentation effect at the enemy end, then they are as good as stones. And you can have this scenario happening. Again, even mortars, we have had fatal accidents. And the field guns, artillery field guns, have been reporting many accidents over the past years. That is why these stores are very critical. And having understood that, let me cover certain peculiarities of quality assurance of ammunition. Firstly, any ammunition produced has to be tested with all the weapons it is intended to be fired, and for every condition the soldier would experience in terms of terrain, climate, or operational use. Secondly, the ammunition need not be only tested for physical and functional aspects, but more importantly, from the aspects of safety. That is, safety in handling, safety in transportation, and safety during exploitation. In addition, the ballistics and terminal effects also have to be checked and tested. One more very peculiar thing about ammunition armament store is the proof testing. That is actually firing the ammunition, which is mandatory in case of ammunitions. I will be covering this subsequently. Another thing about ammunition, and especially for ammunition, they have a very long shelf life. They will be kept in storages, in packages, in different environmental conditions for more than half its shelf life. And suddenly the requirement comes for exploitation, so they should perform in the desired manner, in the desired functionality at that time also. Every component in ammunition is very critical for its performance, and the explosives have different behavior at different temperatures and altitudes. For example, certain explosives may behave more erratically at higher temperatures. Another aspect very important about ammunition is that they can be tested only on sampling basis. This I'll be covering in detail subsequently. And of course, for the private industries, they require handling of these stores, require special licenses also. Now, a simple round of 9mm caliber, 9mm caliber round may seem very simple, but it's a very intricate process. Just to manufacture this, you require expertise knowledge of the military explosives, the metallurgy, the ballistics, QA, and of course, a proof range to test fire it. Coming to the quality assurance practices, the speakers have spoken in depth about it. I will just like to reiterate one thing, that for these critical stores, the quality assurance should be well planned and systematic to build in checks and tests at every stage of manufacturing. Presently, for all ammunition armament stores to Indian Army and certain other forces is being provided by DGQA, which has a well-established system. Now, when I say what is a well-established system, the list is listed here on this slide. The breakdown facility for ammunition, for example, the DGQA has established a predictive technology laboratory at Khadki, which is state-of-the-art for breakdown and analysis of all types of ammunition under its aegis. Broadly, the quality assurance during manufacturing of these stores are based on a comprehensive QA plan, which is formulated mutually, and they incorporate the QA at every stage, right from strict checks and control at input materials, the surveillance points and control points during the manufacturing, the final acceptance inspection, including dynamic proof once the lot has been formulated. Coming to the concept of proof. See, proof is actual firing the ammunition or test firing the armament portion, with the aim mainly to check the functionality, ballistic performance, and the terminal effects. Some of the important points are listed on this slide. I would just like to reiterate that during test firing or proof firing, the safety, the correct observations, and the correct interpretation of proof results is very essential. For information of the industries, these are the proof ranges, major ones available in India for testing of ammunition and armament. The first two are under the control of DGQA, the next two are under the control of DRDO, and next following are under the control of the newly formed DPSUs. There is a detailed SOP formulated and allotment and utilization of proof ranges by private defense industries and is available on the Department of Defense Production website. My request to the industries is that you must utilize these ranges to test fire the ammunition oblique armament which you will be producing or are producing to gain confidence not only for indigenization but also for export. Like I said, ammunition is done on a sampling basis. So what is the relevance of proof samples? This is a concept I'd like to deliberate a little bit more. See, the actual test for ammunition is when you fire it. But if you fire every bullet or every round, there will be nothing left to use oblique ship. But in the case we do not fire any of these because it's a destructive testing, then we may have problems later on the battlefield or disastrous results subsequently. That is why sampling in ammunition is a very important aspect. And this was initially popularized by Dodge and Romig for the US military in World War II. So basically, acceptance sampling is the middle of the road approach between no inspection and 100% inspection. Some important points which need to be kept in mind are the proof samples should be selected randomly and from the complete batch because they represent the complete batch. Traceability of each and every component should be maintained by the manufacturers, and the sample size are derived from well-established MIL standards 131/IS 2500. Just to give you a broad picture, out of a lot size of 2000, presently DGQA is drawing as meager quantity as quantity from 8 to 13 from a lot size of 2000 to ascertain the acceptability of the lot. This is what is sampling, and that is why the samples which represent the lot has to be homogeneous. This is one very important aspect when you apply sampling to any of the lots, and this should be kept in mind by all manufacturers. See, the decision is either to accept the lot or reject the lot, and this is what is called the acceptance sampling. One very important point one must keep in mind is The main purpose of acceptance sampling is to decide whether or not the lot is likely to be accepted, but it is not to estimate the quality of the lot. The quality has to be built in by the manufacturers themselves.
Just about a minute left.
The standards being followed are on the view foil. I'll just reiterate that DGQA has already aligned most of its specifications in line with international standards and practices. Just to conclude, see, the QA of ammunition armament is a very intricate process and requires a very well-established setup. Ultimate aim of the manufacturer and quality assurance agencies should be that the quality of these critical stores meet the requirements of the soldiers in all conditions, in all terrains, and under every eventuality, while handling, while firing, at every time. And that is why they should provide him the necessary confidence and necessary safety when he uses it. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thanks, Anil, for giving an insight into the quality practices for ammunition and armament. Gentlemen, though we may be trying to give this concept of the best manufacturing process, but in best of my opinion or in the best of my thought process, as far as ammunition is concerned, let us remain conventional. And let us not make hasty decisions as far as the QA for ammunition is concerned. Let ammunition not go without proper checks, without proper proof, both it is applicable for ammunition part, armament part, and also for the missile part. To this extent, as he listed various IS documents, we already framed one document which will standardize the complete QA process encompassing all type of equipment being inducted, whether it is through FOSTEC process or through the EP route or the large amount of IDEX projects which are coming. We have ADG-CD here. The document is still with you, and we hope that you will soon finalize this topic, though we are parallelly moving on for finalizing the GSG on it, and it will be in place shortly. It's not only what we say or what we do. We also have with us Mr. Mohit Ikbote. He is the quality head of Larsen & Toubro, which is a big industry partner today, and has been providing not only small equipment, but has come out with a major platform that is K9. With this, the presentation will be on state-of-art testing and manufacturing technologies being adopted by Indian industries. And this is what they're going to recommend as futuristic QA. But before I hand over to them, if there are best practices, then these best practices need to come out in the form of an ATP, because it's a mutually accepted document between any of the suppliers and any of the QA agencies. So the system is transparent, and if the system is best and it is available within the country, we too need to learn from it and need to adopt it. Now I hand it over to Mr. Mohit Ikbote.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much, sir, for this generous introduction. I am Mohit Ikbote, Head Quality Defense, L&D Defense. I will be speaking on state-of-the-art testing and manufacturing technologies being adopted by Indian industries and recommended procedure for quality assurance. Giving just a brief overview of Indian defense, that India being largest importer and spender of in defense is likely to allocate more than 5 lakh crore for defense. Out of that, 68% will be allocated for defense industries, and MOD has come up with various initiatives, policies such as DAP 2020, some Buy Indian, IDDM, strategic partnership model, as well as DGQ also has come up with various policies such as Green Channel certification and DTIS. The defense production is currently handled by around 16 DPSUs and supported by more than 10,000 MSMEs and few large private industries. So the journey so far had a lot of hindrances for the private industries. The industry was supplying raw material components to PSUs. PSUs were getting on nomination basis major programs. Also there was meager allocation in R&D as well as even manpower ramp up. But the things are changing, new policies are coming, new DPPs are getting released. There is a focus on giving large defense proportion of around 25% to private industries, and even more licenses are also being granted. And this can be seen in form of some of the major contracts which are listed here are won by the private industries. So private industry actually is also focusing on improving their design and testing capabilities in the form of various 3D model suite coupled with virtual reality as well as PLM and ERP softwares and some of the state-of-the-art manufacturing and testing technologies which I'll cover in the future slides. So this is a list of various technologies, manufacturing technologies are being adopted by private industries, be it robotic welding, be it plasma cutting, whether it is theory of constraint-based full kit management, special purpose machines, CNC machines, and even digital technologies. Coming to inspection and testing, various advanced metrological tools such as laser projector, laser trackers, setting up various environmental testing facilities or EMC facilities, establishing end-to-end quality management system, and even providing services for remote inspections so that inspection can continue without presence of people. In advanced welding and NDT, we are using robotic welding for long seam, sug seam of major shells, distant, orbital welding for in situ pipe joint. Bitoton radiography is helping us to take larger section in much shorter time. Computer radiographies, which is the new concept, which is helping us to analyze various film without going for physical films. These are some of the new age technology instruments, whether it is laser tracker, laser crossliner, even laser scanners. These are helping us to meet the quality. And so, like laser tracker is, let's say, CMM tool, which helps to do the 3D profile measurement, or the total station is used for 3D measurement of circularity of the hull and even control panels. Jigs and fixtures play a very major role in giving the sequential operations as well as the stringent tolerances which are required to be done. Using process and method engineering, we are able to come out with the detailed plan, and they are being used in various applications as I shown in this slide. This is a case in point to demonstrate how the digital manufacturing is being adopted by some of the industries, like laser metrological tools are used for 3D measurement, profile, dimension measurement. The 3D model of the as-built equipment or actual equipment is generated by scanning, and then the mock-up is done within the 3D software, so that the adjacent areas can be analyzed and the decisions can be taken for the modification of the any structures which are required. Also, the other part of outfitting, whether it is piping, equipment installation, or cable hangers, pipe supports, all these decisions actually can be seen directly inside the 3D model. The laser projection system actually is helping us to project the 3D model directly onto the surface, so that there is no need for marking inspection, and even interpretation of drawing, because many times drawings become very complex when there are a large number of parts. So such technologies are used for directly projecting these parts onto the surface. Electronic unit manufacturing starts with the automated PCB manufacturing. The assembly also is done, soldering is done automatically on the automated machines. And this goes into the enclosure along with cable harness to form the units. And then a test jig help us to meet the test instruction and design specification. And ESD also plays role in mitigating the risk. Further going in terms of testing of electronic card and units, basically automatic optical inspection is done to ensure that there are no defects, the orientation, missing parts. The impedance test is check the signal integrity. X-ray test is done to find out unseen defects. And the functional testing is done to see whether the circuit and the unit is made as per the specification. The burn-in test is elevated temperature or longer duration to remove the infant mortality failures. And the conformal coating of cards is done to ensure that your products and components are protected. Coming to the testing, at card level as well as at unit level, all these testings are followed. Also, the endurance test is done at system level to see that the products are meeting the requirement. And the qualification test is required to get the reliable and quality products. And these are the tests which are indicated here, which follows. The use of composites in defense is, although limited, but has huge potential. That's why I try to cover some of the aspects of composite manufacturing. It starts with automated tape binding using impregnated tapes. Then filament binding for multi-access yarn formation. Then autoclave is used for curing of products. Also there is vacuum resin infusion molding, which takes care of formation or manufacturing of large composite sheets. And also the composites undergo various testing. Some of the photographs are shown here too. These are general tests, and industry also have NABL accredited lab for mechanical and chemical testing. So coming to quality assurance, what it means to industry, while some of my colleagues and speakers, they have spoken about that. If I have to add to what quality assurance means, it is basically compliance to statutory, regulatory and contractual requirement, conducting process and system audits on regular basis to see that our processes are in place, training and development of the manpower so that we have the best team available, and creating a culture of continual improvement so that our products are reliable. Coming to certification, we have ISO 9001, AS 9100, NABL accredited labs for undertaking testings, NADCAP for special processes, CEMILAC for airworthiness of avionics products, CMMI for capability and maturity model, and even DGQA schemes are helping us to get the product with the assured quality. Some of the QA tools and practices which our speaker has already mentioned, TQM, Kaizen, 5S, Six Sigma, key performance indicators, even getting the data of customer feedback and analyzing that data, first time right and every time right concepts, continuously calibrating instruments and equipments, and use of process sheets and other QAPs meeting the design specification. Supplier actually is onboarded through this process from selection, evaluation, development, monitoring, and they undergo various evaluation criteria as listed here. This is one proposal we would like to make from industry, that the suppliers can be categorized into various categories, let's say 3 categories, the tierized structure based on their capability spectrum. Now this need to be evolved and worked out with all stakeholders and in consultation with all forums. But some of the criteria and parameters are proposed here. Basically category A could be medium and large size supplier exhibiting a strong quality management system. And so basically what they can do, so DGQA can give green certification and no in-process inspection by them. And in turn, they can only do the quality audits and review of documents. Likewise, the categories and parameters for category B and category C suppliers can be evolved. These are some of the financial and technical requirement. Again, this can be worked out for the supplier in consultation. So the industry actually can be made more accountable because they are subjected to the quality audits by DGQA, and the industry can show strong adherence to the quality system, and also those who are having below bare minimum rating, even they can be debarred from participation in procurement process. Use of third-party inspection agencies, as they are having expertise in various processes like welding, heat treatment, non-destructive testing, they can be considered, and even they can be involved in vendor assessment and vendor audits. So this is my last slide. Basically, what I'm proposing that we are gone long way. There is a big market which is coming up. Industry is gearing up. We would like to have support from DGQA and all other agencies. And these are some of the things which I'm proposing that we should adopt as a whole team, that extensive use of 3D and laser technology with online inspection and document management system, including QR code. We can use some of the new concepts like rapid prototyping, digital twin, and AR and VR. And we should create one nationwide network, secured network, involving all stakeholders, whether it is lab, testing facility, private industries, suppliers, DGQA, DRDO, so that all the participants are available and we can provide an efficient process, and thereby reducing the time as well as we can meet the quality objective. This is a slide explaining that we are there to provide consultation paper and also be in this process to support DGQA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohit. I think your talk was absolutely in line with what the other speakers had said. And you very rightly brought out that the industry is moving in the direction of automation in the field of manufacturing. And if we do the digital threading, then I think all the stakeholders will be at the same page. But the concept of green channel, as you brought out, it is just an SOP. And the standard, if we talk about the standard, is giving self-certification. Yes, for all your stable products, if you have, please project it, come to DGQA, take self-certification, and that's what we also wanted, that you as a supplier be responsible for your quality and for your product. Now coming to the audits, as brought out by you, this is also where we are moving and encouraging the industry, that if you have done the digital threading, then those documents where you feel that you have adopted those methodologies should be presented and produced as required to carry out the audit. And there should be transparency in carrying out the audit, because that is where, if there are gaps, those gaps can be filled. And most important, not only it is required for the purpose of certification of an equipment, it also goes in for the documentation of the equipment, because these are large systems which are going to be there in operations for a larger period of time. And if we do not have a proper documented system, or what in your language which you may be addressing as configuration management, and which we say as an HSP procedure of documentation, then we may come to at a stage wherein the equipment which we are handling or maintaining may become unmaintainable. All points brought out by you as far as upgradation of the industry standards are well accepted. Defining into various groups of A, B, and C. Yes, that's what is our approach also, that those industries which is stable, which are good, which have their processes in place, should go in for self-certification. Not only that, you should also develop your own ecosystem. What you brought out about this NADCAP, the standard which the Americans or the American companies, whether it is Lockheed Martin or Boeing, which are following all across the world for their suppliers, they bring it at the same process level. Bharat Electronics too has got Six Sigma certification. But when you ask Bharat Electronics, which is that product for which you are satisfied, he says for the supplies which are made to GE. Therefore, these are for those supplies which you are making or meeting the requirements of your export suppliers or to your principal suppliers to whom you are giving. If the same approach is brought in your ecosystem within the country, I think it will become a benchmark for the future. Gentlemen, many studies have happened on DGQA and the method which they are trying to follow, which is the best approach for quality assurance. And where should we move in quality assurance? Last being the study by the NPC. I do not know where these studies head to, but it ultimately results in reduction of manpower. Yes, if automation happens, things happen, manpower does come down, but where are we globally today? Are the practices which are being followed by the other nations, and especially I'm talking about those countries which are in defense manufacturing, as brought out by the PM yesterday. There are very few countries who are in defense manufacturing, and there are very few suppliers who had a monopoly over the products which they were supplying. We tried to map it and see, are these practices somewhat different from what we are doing? The next speaker, Colonel Himanshu Jha, will give you an insight into global QA practices, what the other countries or the other major defense suppliers are doing vis-a-vis what we are doing in our country, and if there are gaps, how we can fill it. I hand it over to you, to Colonel Himanshu Jha.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Am I audible? Okay. I have been tasked to give a talk on global QA practices, what is happening around the world. Before this, we have had a good session, good insight of various quality concepts, what is working and all. And as you can see in the pamphlets already held with you, most of the organizations which are of the major foreign armies, foreign defense manufacturing hubs is already given how it is there. So question paper is already out. However, I'll try to bridge both of them in a slightly out of syllabus manner and maybe out of rostrum also. So if you see in this DEF Expo, exposition of a world level, we are having a seminar on quality assurance of defense products. Just take your mind to an auto expo. Did we have a seminar on quality of automobiles? Or a Fashion India week, did we have a seminar on cosmetic quality and quality assurance of cosmetic products? Why this buzzword of quality and quality assurance in defense manufacturing is so important? We need to see to that. Let us do a product comparison. What I have done is, I have listed the very few macro level key aspects of various types of products. See, commercial, off the shelf commercial product. It can be anything, be it an automobile or a furniture or a sofa like this. A defense product of leading defense countries and defense products of India. Now, see the buyer space. I'm coming to the, homing on to the top, on the point that why quality is important for defense products. So buyer space for commercial product, very large. Same for defense products for established NATO countries. It is large because it's a group of countries who go for a change of an equipment. But in case of us, it is single buyer. Single buyer, Army, Navy, Air Force for a particular type of equipment. Similarly, the seller space. Seller space is very high. You have n number of car manufacturers, n number of models. You can choose out of them. You like it, don't like it. You can change it. Life, as such, the life of the biggest complex system on a land which is work as an automobile, and a diesel car is 10 years old. So the life is also very small. The implication of non-availability of these products. Now, if a commercial product is not available, it has got what? Personal level implication, or maximum some very local level implication. If the car brake fails, it either creates an accident, not more than, I mean, God forbid it happens, but I mean, the implications are not national or regional, whereas in defense products, it is so. So we are coming to the situation where there is a requirement of an oversight because of the limited volumes. I have not included volume in this, limited volumes of defense products. So that is where we are going. But after having seen that, let us see how the quality is being inculcated in commercial products. Can you please click on the first hyperlink? Yeah, first hyperlink. Yeah. So these are the various logos which we see before buying a product. A water bottle like this has been certified by BIS as per IS standard. The water bottle has been certified for Indian standard. There's a standard for a water like this, and there's a body of Government of India, competent body of India, which is certifying this item for compliance to that standard. Then there is FSSAI standard, which is as per the regulatory item for eatables. There's a barcoding for traceability and everything. So this is the level at which commercial products are there. And what is the reason for that? Can you go back? Can you go back? Yeah. What is the reason for that? The main reason for that is the market share. The market share is not the challenge in defense products. Because a product has been procured, it remains with the buyer for good about 25 to 35 years. And that is where the problem is. Or you can say that is where the challenge is, that is where the peculiarity is. That quality is an important aspect for defense products. Having seen the quality, let us now further dissect it, that where this quality stands to. Now, there are two pillars of quality: quality control and quality assurance. Now, quality control is a process which is primarily aiming to fulfill the quality requirements at the time of manufacturing of that item. Whereas quality assurance is not limited to manufacturing only. It is a process aimed to provide confidence to the stakeholder that quality requirements would be fulfilled. So now these quality requirements are not limited to manufacturing. It is pre-manufacturing, post-manufacturing, everywhere. And it is based on factual data and inputs. It is not a heuristic-based assessment. So this is how the QA for defense products become so important. It's a confidence-building process. Now, if we see how a QA confidence-building process is implemented in various in the life cycle of a product. If you see the bullets, say for up to contract formulation, from top to up to contract formulation, it is confidence building process in acquisition. Then you come first of production, serial production. It is confidence building process during production and delivery. Then exploitation, defect investigation, life cycle maintenance, product improvement, and import replacement. Confidence building measure during exploitation. So it is the complete life cycle of the equipment, from conceptualization to backloading. Quality assurance is there, and it is primarily to, before some person or a warfighter lays his hand over that equipment, he is confident about it, and there has to be a body to provide that confidence. Now, I'll just take half of a minute how and where this particular aspect happens, because rest are all already shared with you. Once the QR is formulated, now the person who is formulating QR, he is formulating as per his requirement, as per his operational needs. But how that QR can be non-subjective, how that QR is based on standards which has got clear-cut compliance requirements, that is where the confidence comes in the QR when it is issued to the environment. So there is a requirement of confidence providing mechanism at the time of QR formulation. Similarly, when the RFP is issued and there are queries to the RFP at the time of pre-bid stage, there are technical requirements. There are technical requirements and there are technical queries. So those have to be replied in a way that there is no ambiguity when the response to RFP is received. So that is why it is again, someone has to get into it and then give that response accordingly from the technical point of view. Once the response is received, you are at a TEC stage / paper evaluation. This is the most important stage. Now, the solution provider has provided all compliances. Yes, I will do this, this will do this, this will do this, this will do this. But there is requirement of a body to see the solution from technical point of view. What are the parameters and specifications of that solution? Will it be able to meet those intended compliance requirements or not? It might have happened that yes, it has complied, but for a DR bike, or you can say dispatch rider messenger bike, which has to run over desert, someone has offered a 50cc engine. Now, there has to be someone who has to technically study that how is he meeting that intended usage through this particular type of technical parameters. So, this mapping of technical parameters with respect to the intended usage is done during the TEC evaluation, and that is what the technical rep who is providing the QA confidence at the time of TEC is supposed to do. Now, once we finish off the TEC, we come to field and technical trials. Now, what are the technical trials aimed at? Now, the equipment which has got the acceptable. Now, at the time of TEC, we have established the sufficiency of technical parameters. Yes, it will be able to meet. Now, once we know that this particular item is supposed to be used for a life cycle of say 20-25 years, through that life cycle, it will go through various types of rigors, climatic as well as dynamic challenges. Now, when this particular equipment will go through those types of rigors, will those parameters remain within range or not? If those parameters remain within range, over the period of that time of dynamic and physical and climatic challenges, it means that it is reliable. So how that is done is during the technical trials. We try to simulate those conditions in a truncated version. We truncate, or you can say telescope it over time as well as severity to have a fair assumption that yes, if these type of temperature cyclings or these types of physical damage or these type of shocks or vibrations, if this equipment goes through the life cycle of 20 to 25 years, it will be able to survive. So we simulate those conditions, and then after that, after having put through those stress, we measure those parameters. The parameters which were found sufficient, now they are seen to be reliable. That yes, the parameters stay within the range, and that is the essence of technical trials. So once the technical trial is done, you come to CNC stage. In CNC stage, whatever is the bill of material which has been offered by the vendor, has that been mapped onto the equipment which has been evaluated and tried. There should not be any mismatch between that. So again, the intended use and the cost quoting, or you can say bill of, we are not seeing the cost, but there's a seeing the bill of material matches with that or not.
With time, move to QA practices now.
Okay, sir.
Global, because you have
So-
other points left.
So this is how the confidence is built in various stages of the life cycle. I'll just touch upon the last but one point here, that when the import replacement or product is improved, now whenever an item is received, it's a system integration of imported as well as indigenous assemblies. And over a period of time, the imported ones are created in India, and then those are replaced with the indigenous one. But the point to be kept in mind here is that the original item which was there was well established in the bathtub curve of the exploitation stage, and it is now being replaced by an item which has been either reverse engineered or absorbed through TOT, but that item is at the infant mortality stage and getting into exploitation stage. So what is the way, what are the standards based on which this new item has to be taken equivalent to the old and established one? That gap needs to be handled. However, having seen that, let us see what is the requirement. The confidence building processes are not questionable at all. The requirement is improve the efficiency of implementation of these confidence building processes. There is a requirement of automation, digitization, and otherwise there is a very thin line between value addition and becoming an impediment. Having seen that, I'll just go through the QA, or you can say confidence building measures, which various armies have in place. In case of US, there is a Defense Contract Management Agency, DCMA. Now, DCMA is part of the Ministry of Defense, and they have quality assurance groups. Now, the quality assurance groups are product specific, product range specific, and they create the complete, they are responsible for complete implementation from acquisition to exploitation. They are overall responsible. Their aim is to see to it that product is delivered as per the cost and the requirements as sought by the buyer. They have QA teams who do different types of the QA jobs on behalf of Secretary of Defense, that is their ministry. Then coming to Germany. Germany again, the procurement office of BWB and IT wing, they have been combined into one, that is BAN, there is a Federal Office of Bundeswehr Equipment, Information Technology and In-Service Equipment. Now, they are wholesale responsible for acquisition process and product delivery of the desired quality. So, the German army is also doing that, and parallelly, the defense production has got inputs from fixed ancillary. Their input supplier base is fixed, and it has got fixed ancillaries. Next is, again, Sweden. Sweden, again, it has got a government QA agency and test and evaluation directorate, which is part of the Defense Material Administration. That is the Directorate of Acquisition of Defense Stores, and they do the complete evaluation and product delivery, including the exploitation. And parallelly, again, the defense industry is there, which has got a strong inbuilt QC and QA. Next is France. Again, there's a DGA, that is DG Armament. And they are responsible for provisioning of the equipment, and their wing of government QA is responsible for product delivery of the required quality. The government QA organization runs various test centers and technical training centers all over the country, which is involved in capability building of the industry as well as of the government QA agencies. They also have a concept of program management team, which is for a particular type of equipment delivery. It's a multidisciplinary body where people from all type of experiences are brought in, and then they accordingly give the product delivery. Israel, again, is the director of SIBAT. They have a principal director of delivery, in which the quality assurance is part of the item of the product delivery. Now, quality assurance is, in case of Israel, the plant manager has got QA person under him, and he takes care of the QC as well as the overall manufacturing which is happening in the plant. Coming to UK MOD, there is a Defense Authority for Technical Quality Assurance, that is DAT and QA, under which it's a QCM policy. Now, they are the ones who promulgate the policies for procurement, for standards, defense standards, and also the quality implementation procedures. Whereas the National Quality Assurance Authority, NQAA, and Defense Quality Assurance Field Force, they are the ones who implement those policies and check the compliance as per the standards. Both of them work under the umbrella of UK MOD. Last is South Korea. Again, South Korea has got a DTAC, that is Defense Agency for Technology and Quality. Now, they are also part of, it's a tri-services organization. It has got academia, it has got the scientific people, the civilians, military people, everyone into that. and they are working as a project management teams for a particular delivery of a particular type of item, and then they are responsible for, again, from the acquisition to product delivery and exploitation. So that is how the South Korea also does it. I'll conclude by repeating the second slide of mine, that two pillars of qualities are QC and QA. However, I'll add with on last sentence that scope and depth of QA processes have direct bearing on confidence of stakeholders. With this, I conclude. Thank you.
Thanks, Colonel Himanshu. The global QA practices, why it was important was because in our country, everybody wants to have a control over QA. And nobody is talking about the process in QA. Keep my role and my function independent. And let whosoever want take the control over it. But let me know what I'm supposed to do. If I know my job and my role is clear to me, then it is immaterial to me. World over, if you see, the process generally remains the same. So there are no great QAs and there are no lower QAs, and we are not below or above anybody. We are just contemporary in the field of QA. One important thing which he brought out was as far as the contract management or the important aspects as far as the QR to PNC to CNC goes on. Let us understand, and if we understand engineering correctly, understand the bell curve. What remains within the control limits and the process is on mean, and my process capability index is at 1.33, I think we have achieved our aim of maintaining the quality, and the quality assurance also becomes a part of quality control. Wherever there's a strong quality control, you do not need to repeat it by quality assurance. This is what we have been propagating, and I have been proposing it to the industry. Please move concurrent. A, in terms of testing, this is what Colonel Mohanty brought out, that your time period of development to production reduces by about 2 to 3 years. And similarly, when you are producing a product, if you have a production cycle time of a defined time of say 10 days or 20 days, please include QA and QC into it. It should not be separately done because it adds into a time which may not be required. We have come to the end of this session on QA practices. I would still request people, if there are any questions or anything which you feel is important, we'll try and answer it, me and along with my team. And if there is none, then we close and conclude the session. I first convey my sincere thanks to the Honorable Raksha Rajya Mantri, Shri Ajay Bhatt ji, and our DG, General R.K. Malhotra, who gave their valuable time and consent to be present here. The DG has been all throughout present for the complete period of the seminar. We also thank the MOD officials who gave us this opportunity to conduct this seminar and convey our point to the industry. We also have the speakers from the industry. And on behalf of DGQA, I would like to place my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the aerospace and defense team of Ernst & Young, who were our knowledge partners in coming out with this small book on global QA practices and what is happening in the field of QA. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all distinguished speakers within DGQA and from outside DGQA. Without their support and their speaking, this would have not been possible. And all these gentlemen is to the endeavor of the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank our audience who had the patience to be with us despite certain delays which were there initially, and delegates from the industry, academia, government, and to the event managers of the who are conducting this function today, which was absolutely smooth without any problem or any trouble. With this, I once again thank all of you for having spared your valuable time and being with us in this seminar today. Thank you, Jai Hind, and God bless.
May I request the audience to kindly stay back with us as we would like to hand over the mementos. And before that, thank you, Major General R.S. Reen, for moderating the session for all of us. Let's get started with the memento distribution, and may I request to do the honors Lieutenant General R.K. Malhotra to kindly join us on the stage, please. May I request the team to kindly bring up the memento on the stage, to start with Brigadier Manu Paruthi to kindly join us first. तालियों में कोई कंजूसी नहीं होनी चाहिए, बेझिझक होकर आप तालियां बजा सकते हैं. Next, may I request Colonel Shivesh Kumar to kindly join us. Next, may I request Colonel Rafeel to join us. Next, may I request Colonel Sanjay Mohanty with us on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Next, requesting Brigadier Anil Gupta to kindly join us next. Next, we have Shri Mohit Ekbote to kindly join us. May I also request Colonel Himanshu Jha to join us. Next, Major General R.S. Reen. Last but not the least, thank you so much, Lieutenant General R.K. Malhotra, for helping us to hand over the mementos to our significant speakers who joined us on the stage. Like I said earlier, that we do not know that when we're going to get the opportunity to have such eminent personalities with us under one roof, and why not have all the best memories captured in the camera. Let's have a group picture. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, the audience in the house. It's time to feed our tummy and soul, so happy lunch.